Hey, good morning. Chuck here with Apple Drains. Today we are back in Winter Park, Florida on a job we installed about 6 months ago. And they've got a swimming pool in the backyard. They're going to put a new patio and a new screened lanai, the enclosure. And they've asked us to move one of the sump basins. So we're going to go ahead and do that. This is actually a very labor-intense job. Sounds like, oh, real easy to move a sump basin. But taking the old basin out is quite difficult. Connecting all the new pipe, reconnecting, it's quite a bit of work. It surprises people. So we're going to make the video of that. Let's take a look. So this morning we are back on a job that we installed about 6 months ago. And what they decided to do, as you can see their pool, they are going to get the pool lanai, the new patio. I guess they're extending the patio over here towards the window. And they've asked us to move this sump basin. So again, if you ever have to do this, this is not really an easy job. Of course, you can definitely do it yourself, but there's a lot to consider. We've got several lines that tie into that sump basin. What you're looking at right there is the 1.5-inch discharge that runs all the way around and out to the street. When you cut that line, it's going to be full of water, and that's why you see all the water on the side of the pit, because there's a check valve, but it's actually down by the pump. So that line's full of water, and we've got to deal with that. There's also a yard drain that ties in, and of course we've got the footer pipe along that wall. We've already dug the new hole over here to move the basin, and you can see there's the 1.5-inch discharge, and you see the white cloth, that's the styrofoam peanut pipe. We've got to tie that in, and then over where Joe's at, you can see there's a little catch basin there, and we've got to tie that downspout, or excuse me, yard drain. It'll come across and tie into the pit as well. So a lot of labor to move a pit. When you install your pit, hopefully you don't have to move it, because this is costly work to have someone come back and move, because it's quite a bit of labor and a lot of knowledge of what you're doing. Make sure you don't get that electric line. So we're going to go ahead and cut this is the yard drain. We're going to cut that loose, real simple, just cut it right off. And then the next thing we're going to cut loose is the footer pipe. We've already cut the discharge line there, but we're going to cut the footer pipe. And then we're going to see if we can't lift this pit out of here. You can see all the water around it, and we are in sand, so it's very tight into the ground, but let's give it a try. Cool, so we got the whole pit out. This is going to be an obsolete hole. We're going to use our excess from over here just to backfill that hole. So now we're ready to look at this side. Let's take a look. They've already put the GFI out here, which was nice. So we'll plug right in here, and you notice the groundwater. It hasn't rained for several days, but notice that groundwater is rising, and this is how the system works. As it rains hard over several days, or maybe just one day, that groundwater comes up and it goes into that footer pipe, and it goes to the sump basin, and it's carried away. Real simple, but a lot of labor. So now we're just cutting the old pipe out of the way. And stop for 1 second, Joe. This is a good little example of some help for you. If you think about cutting with a hacksaw, if you pull this pipe up, because that's what would be easy to do, you can't cut it because it'll pinch the saw. See that? It pinches it. You got to push this section away, and it'll cut really easy. So, little tip for you. Okay, so we're going to put a T on here, and luckily we actually have a catch basin right beside it. So we know that there's a fitting here. I'm just going to pull it loose. We're going to make a measurement. We're going to cut out a small section and fit that T on there. Yeah, there we go. So we'll set the T in place. And it's okay, it's going to come over this sprinkler line, it's just in the way. Now we just need a small piece to make that. We'll use the existing pipe, just a small piece. You might cut it twice to make your fit. That looks like it might be a little bit long. I'm going to cut a little bit shorter. But either way, this is a tight fit. And I'm going to try to push it this direction to see if we can't get it in there. But I promise you it will go. Almost. And you don't want to cut more of it because you want it to be tight. So there we go there. Let's just see if it'll get into the top. Things kind of go out around, and you just want to make sure that, there we go, that it goes together. Nice. So now we just need a piece that goes from here, and we can lift this up and give it fall over to the pit. Stop. Push stop. It'll stay there. So we made the connection into the sump basin. Remember, you just slice the end of the pipe and you stick it inside. Now we're just going to make the measurement. And because this is corrugated, it's going to bend. We could easily make this fit in here. Let's go ahead and cut it. The secret here is you want to cut it a little bit long, in case you do have to cut it again. But this should be really simple. Snaps in place. Whoops, let me get it in there. Snaps in place, and then we've got, real good fall going into the pit. Okay, so we've got the connection from the footer pipe. Now we're setting the pump in there. We're trying to use the old pit to save some money. You can see there's the hole. We're going to try to come out that hole with this pipe. It should fit, and we're going to connect to this. Okay, so we made our connections. Down below is the footer pipe. There's a T that comes over, goes into the sump basin. We put the pump in, came out. We're using a no hub right here. Little offset, but that's what's nice about no hubs. Connects to the discharge line going out to the street. So now we're ready to put the lid on. That's an old pipe, that's obsolete. We're just gonna leave that in the ground. Put the lid on, we can cover this all up, fill up the old basin, and we're done. If you ever had to move the basin, again, it's a little bit of work. You can see we're covering up the old pipe. We'll use the old pit hole where the basin was. We'll use some of this dirt over there just to backfill it. But if you have to move the basin, it can be done. It's a lot of labor to pull that old pit out. We were able to use the old basin. It lined up great, but if you need to buy another basin, always have one available just in case. And we made our connections. Everything's good here. Luckily, they already put a new GFI out here to make it easy to plug into. Remember that these pumps do require a ground fault interceptor. That's what the GFI stands for. That's code. Code says you cannot have a break from sump pump to outlet. In other words, an extension cord is not to code. Yes, we leave extension cords because we're not electricians. And you can leave it on there forever and a day, but when you go to sell, that house inspector is going to tell you you've got to get a GFI. Okay, so we taped around the lid just so that when we cover it, no dirt drops down through there. There is a little seam there. It's just nice to keep the sand out. We did clean that basin out when we pulled it out of the ground, because there was a lot of sand in there. Maybe the pit had been opened or something, but got to maintain that basin. The basin needs to stay clean. You can see we've got a little spot here, depression. We can throw some of the excess in there and it'll clean up really nice. Hey, this is Chuck with Apple Drains, reminding you that if you believe you can do something, I guarantee you can do it. Have a great day.